It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice. My name is Tembela Dick, and I'm big in the media industry in terms of doing other things, and I love people.
I'm Lucas. I work for the Feather Awards, the Tammy Dish Foundation, and I also have a podcast called The Cure with Lou.
My name is Mkita, based in Cape Town, photographer, and also into community works with NGOs.
My name is Norma Morobodi. I am in Johannesburg. I am a photographer, I am an archiver, and all in all, obsessed with the arts.
My name is Narciso, and I'm based in Johannesburg. I'm a photographer, and I just love the creative world, you know.
I was never raised by my biological father and mother. I was raised by their mothers, my grandmother and my father. But what was strange was I was not raised by my grandmother and father at the same time. I was raised in Cape Town by my father's father, and I was raised in Eastern Cape by my mother's mother.
So my mom had to make a sacrifice to take me to Mozambique, where I was raised by my grandmother for like 12 years. And that wasn't easy, you know. I wouldn't see my mom at all, you know what I'm saying? So for me to see her, it would be like towards the end of the year or often when she would come through.
When I was about to enter primary school, I was sent to go live with my grandmother, who was living with 3 of her remaining children in the house. So she had to take care of me and had to take care of the other children as well. It doesn't matter that they were of age and some of them could get jobs. It was still difficult to get jobs, as we know the situation in our country. So she still had to work hard to provide for the entire family. And she was working as a domestic worker. And she took care of me up until the age of grade 7. And it wasn't easy because I saw her struggle to like juggle, you know, taking care of so many kids in the house.
My story, it was kind of like a forced thing, you know, because my mom was married to my dad. But because of the abusiveness of my father, then my mom was forced, you know, to raise me like as a single parent. It had disadvantage of me moving around. If she can't make it for this term, then I'll have to go and visit my aunts, you know. So it gave me a run around a lot. So I was moving like from city to city, you know, town to town. And I would say it also like frustrated her a lot because she started now drinking because she can't be there when I need her, you know, or my siblings need her. And all that is all because of an abusive father, you know.
My mother was a teacher, lived in Mafikeng, that's where I'm from. My mother raised me, and I didn't realize that, you know, it didn't click to me at a younger age that I don't have a dad, because I had like my uncle. My uncle, since I was a child, in my head, I knew as my father. It's only like in the later years, because, you know, uncle's taking care of every child, you know, treating every child as his own. One day you just hear, he's not your dad, you know. So now it started raising questions to myself as a young kid that, okay, then who is my father, you know? Later to find out that my father actually passed a couple of months before a month before I was born. Depression, suicidal issues.
I once stayed with my mother for the first time after 16 years of my life. We all have different, you know, demons. Her demon was like drinking alcohol, and she was an alcoholic, and I would stay with her. And during the day when she's not like drinking, she's a sweet person and I'm a clean person. But when it comes to become at night, when she wants to go and drink alcohol and come back, she'll become, this strange form of a person that I do not even realize who is this person. I feel like my mother had double lives, when she was another person when she's drunk, and she was another person when she's not. Eventually, the demons overcome her, and she chased me out of home when I was around about age of 16 or close to 17. So we have our own difficulties in terms of our biological parents.
Yo, I'm touched, Tara, by your background story. That's really tough. That's something that when now we get to hear. All along you've been thinking that, hey, I grew up tough. Hey, it was hard, and then you hear somebody else's story. It's like, yo, I didn't go through nothing.
How
Yes.
did it make you feel? Being raised by a single parent, did you ever have question marks about your father? How did it make you feel as a young man?
Yo, I had a lot of questions, like crazy. I remember it's crazy because I'm saying it's crazy because I only have two memories of my father, which is the night that my mom woke me up to see him. And that night, the only thing he said to me is, I am not your father. And the second memory I have of him is when I left Johannesburg to go and bury him in Mozambique. That's the only thing I have of my dad. Like, okay, that was him for me. It's so painful when I think of that night when they said I'm not your dad, because I wished I had a father figure so much. I grew up around other kids that had their dads, around them. Whenever they would comment like, yeah, last week I went with my dad to the mall, or last week I did that with my dad. Oh, my dad showed me this too. He said it's for this, it's used for this and that. I'm like, yo, I wish I had that.
Most of the old people who our parents leaved us to stay with, they cannot take care of us because they're already older the first time, and number two, and we are in charge as kids, because you're staying with your grandmother and she's alone. There's not even a grandfather. It was so horrible, and it was painful to me because most of the time, even my grandmother was not there. She was working in Cape Town. So she will come back around about December. During the year, I'm with my siblings, and that was not nice at all, because when you are not the direct blood of your aunt has her own children. She prioritizes more than other children that are her sisters or brothers around the household. Then we grew up like so hard, me and my sister, because we would like literally have to wait for December to go home in Cape Town to my grandfather. If we want school fees for money, my aunt is literally a principal at the school, but it was hard for her to give me fees for me to go to school. At that time, fees was 150 or $100. It was like literally horrible to grow up with a single mother who sometimes is not even there.
It taught me a lot, being raised by a ukoko, it was incredible, because there were tough times, days where we would go by without eating, when mama wasn't able to send through, food for us, until in 2012 when she decided to take me back so I can be based here in SA. So now being raised by a single parent is pretty tough. It doesn't mean that she had it all figured out. My mom, she had like tough days.
Now I was forced now like to do some stuff on my own, fixing my bicycle because my dad is not there, So somehow it gave me like a skill, even though it was at a younger age, And then my mom on the other side, she did her best, she would sacrifice most of the stuff in order for me to have everything that I needed.
I think it clicked properly when I moved after my grandmother's passing in grade 9 to live with my mom. That's when I saw firsthand how it is for her to send that little bit of cash to me for trips, skaftini, all these other things, you know. It took a lot of sacrifices that I did not see because I was always put behind and shadowed not to see what is really going on and the struggles that she had. But when I saw them firsthand, it gave me a sense of appreciation that she even stuck through and, you know, raised me and still provided for my grandmother and I, although it was sad because I only saw her June and December. March, September, she's at marking centers trying to make sure that she earns even more, you know. So that's basically the gist of it. Like it was pretty tough, you know, I won't lie. I wish that I had more time to grow with her and be with and experience her in her fullness. But yeah, it was difficult, yeah.
I love her though for being there for us, you know. She survived with us and took us to school. There was never like more of a negative story about being raised by a single parent from my side, you know, because she did everything in her power, you know, to give me everything that I needed with my siblings. But the only thing is just for me now to ended up in Cape Town after 23 years and I don't see my mom, that, you know, it's kind of pain, but it's just a good story, man, that she was there or she's still there. And I've just learned that mothers are actually more protective, you know, of their kids. They will never just leave us, you know, for the sake of being a single parent, you know. My story is beautiful, man. I'm just loving my mom. I'm just loving my mom and how she did things and the sacrifices that she did.
Mom taking charge and responsibility to raise me up, you know, and my sister. I was amazed by her, you know, just the strength, her guts to do all of that on her own. It was crazy because she would not, you know, let her guts down to like, even for a second, to like let us go like a day or a night without eating when she was now like taking care of us full time, you know. She would make sure that every night we have something to eat, you know. And this a lady that stands on her feet to plan people's hair for hours. You know what I'm saying? For hours. And that's incredible for me, for her to make such a sacrifice for us, you know. And today we're here, you know. That's amazing.
I actually understood the situation that I was in, and I just did my best to just work hard at school and just make her proud. And the little that she gave me, I accepted it. And it wasn't like my parents were totally out of the picture. They would pitch in here and there, but totally I was her responsibility. She carried me on her back for those 7 years of my early childhood, and I'm very much grateful because even now she's alive, and I'm so happy that she is here to see me work and see me like give back to her for all of the hard work that she put in to my childhood.
My dream is to have reach a point where my work is internationally recognized, you know.
I'm grateful to be alive today, to wake up and be able to have this conversation with you. And I discovered that for myself, I need to live present and forget about yesterday and tomorrow.
I want to become someone that people can look up to and really have my work all over the world, you know.
My biggest dream is to live in a South Africa that is totally free from prejudice, hate, discrimination.
I'm a tourism graduate. I'm a photographer. I travel a lot. I take pictures. I'm into events. I'm doing that. It's 3 in 1, guys. I'm living my dream.
Yazi, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.